Let's do it. Yeah, let's go for it.
So welcome everybody. We're here for a panel to discuss web series and web development on web series development. We have the people here from Ragged Isle. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves, please do.
Sure. I'm Greg Toolinen. I was the head writer on Ragged Isle, which is a web series available at raggedisle.com. All regular letters.
I'm Karen Dodd. I was the one of the writers, producer, assistant director on Ragged Isle.
I'm Barry Dodd. I'm the director of the series. All three of us wear many hats when it comes to the web series. Like Greg is also the webmaster for the site.
He's an actor.
He's an actor. Boom. Older continuity. You know, and all of us have held the camera at one point or another in the series and been on camera when actors aren't available. Sometimes you just need to suck it up and act.
So Ragged Isle is a local web series that critically acclaimed. You guys have won several awards recently. You're going on your third season now, I believe, correct?
Yep.
Excellent. We have a small group here today, but that's good actually. So what we're going to do is the focus here is that these guys are here to answer questions that you may have about. If you want to talk about their series, great. If you want to talk about how to get through and start your own web series, great. Ask these guys the questions because they're the experts in the room. We have plenty of time. We have an hour. Feel free to ask whatever you guys like. Just let me know when someone's talking, you have a question, wave, nod, flash your titty, whatever. That's totally fine. Not you, Michelle. That'd be great. And we'll get started. So who has the first question? So you guys can play rock, paper, scissors if you want.
Basically, where did you come up with the inspiration for it?
For doing a web series in general?
Just
or?
Ragged Isle itself, the concept.
Ragged Isle itself started a long time ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah, we formed a group to do a puppet show for kids. We wanted to try our hands at something like that, and one of the writers, who was not one of this group, came to the table and said, "My mom just saw on SoapNet that they're having a contest for like kids to make a soap opera and an online soap opera, and if you win, you get like $10,000 and you get to pitch your idea to ABC." So we were like, "Yeah, let's do that. That sounds totally like we could win that." I don't know why we thought we could win that, but
good attitude.
yeah, we were naive enough to try it out, and so thinking about things that we knew about soap operas. Karen probably was the one out of the group that knew the most about soap operas, but Dark Shadows was something that I knew about, and it's a Maine story, set in Maine. So with that in mind, with the soap opera knowledge that we had, we put together what we called Cryhaven. We incorrectly there's a island in Maine called Creehaven, but to look at it on a map, it looked like it said Cryhaven, and so we were like, "Hey Andrea, hey man." So it sounded like a place that some spooky stuff could happen. Cryhaven. It sounds like a soap opera, and we wrote our story based around that.
But we had to make a soap opera.
Yeah.
Was the thing. So we had the twin, and we had we had all that.
Person that dies and comes back. And
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rick was in it. He played the sheriff, and and then like we actually ended up doing pretty well. We ended up being in the top 10 in the nation, and we were voted on, and then we were in the top 5. But we did not win. We did not follow the rules, so we didn't want to make something about celebrity.
Yeah, they gave you rules.
They gave us all these rules for a lesson, and we're like, "Oh, that's silly. We're just going to do whatever we want." And so we had fun, but we didn't win. But from that, because Creehaven is actually the town on the island, and the island's called Ragged Island. So we decided we would take some of the characters and some of the spirit from Cryhaven, and make what we want to make. And so that's kind of it. So we took Ragged Isle and made it Ragged Isle to sound, I don't know why, we just liked it better.
It sounds cool.
Sound better.
Yeah.
Like Deer Isle, Idaho, we just decided just to go with that, and we did what we wanted.
It was
So-
exciting. There were people like the further we got along in the contest, like they were flying people out from LA to interview, and it just was like, oh my god, this could really happen, and you start imagining all of these sort of scenarios, and you try to get your brain around, okay, well, say we actually do get to pitch, what's our story going to be? And so the very beginnings of all of the stuff that we did now started back then. Fast forward a few years later, and we just kind of looked at each other and said, let's do it. Brought in Greg, who was like probably the closest thing to a legit writer that I knew at the time, and Rick is an amazing writer of dialogue, and was like, okay, here's all of our strengths. A good friend named Jake Lear came in, and we sort of formed the writers group that became Right Now. And here we are. So that's how it started, in essence. Now we have also written down a lot of stuff. So even if you don't have questions and just want to know how the heck we did it, we're prepared to talk about it, and how things that you can be thinking about when and if you want to get started, and you should try it. I mean, some of you are already doing it clearly, which is great.
So along that vein, then, we have a lot of artists, obviously, here at the Comic-Con,
Yeah.
that can still sort of follow a traditional pathway. Get out of art school, start submitting artwork to different companies and such. With the development of the web, you guys obviously have sort of a new pathway to take. How has that been? Did you guys ever work before in sort of a traditional submit tapes to a production company, see if you can get funding, that sort of thing? Or is this something that you guys have always done right from the very beginning, just go right straight to using the internet for what can be done, what can be done with it?
This is like the first legit project I think we've ever really
Yeah.
done. Probably all of us.
Well, we're actually rather old.
Yeah.
And when we I graduated college in '99, so when I went to film school, we shot on film, and so it was very expensive. Like he actually came up and directed my senior project, and it was very expensive. So when we first got out of school, it was very expensive to do anything, and then the video looked like video. So you make some little projects and stuff, but it was really with the advent of the web, and then having because we were growing up, even in college, and just having all the equipment you can buy for reasonable prices, and you don't have to buy a $100,000 Avid. You could just have it on your laptop, and really all of that made it so, because we would start projects and stop it, start and stop, because it was just so hard, and it just became a frustration that we wanted to do something, but we just could not get it off the ground because we just didn't have it wasn't going to look like what we wanted it to look like, and we're kind of picky people, and if we're not happy with it, we're not doing it. So now with all this new technology and stuff, now we're like, we can finally do it.
Yeah,
We can do what we want to do and have it look what we want it to look like and sound what we want it to sound like.
Between the advances, the huge leaps in technology as far as cameras, and the advent of the internet becoming this great equalizer for artists, whether you're a writer, whether you're a musician. You know, Napster was sort of like, you know, all of a sudden everybody's music was everywhere on the internet. And it's sort of like that with YouTube for people like us. You know, we don't have to wait to try to be on a television network. We can just start our own network, and there's no doors between us and an audience, no matter what your art form.
As a writer, I did follow the traditional route you talked about, but submitting stories to magazines or journals or whatever, and you know, that's a very time-consuming, laborious process where, you know, it's a rejection 49 times out of 50, and then something will be published, and then you start again and keep doing that over and over again. That's, you know, gradually you build up a list of published work that literally dozens of people have read, and so it was very exciting to become part of a project and have access to people who had equipment and knowledge to make something bigger that could reach a wider audience.
Question?
What if, one of the big things with self-published stuff is drawing attention to it, because you don't have like the big, you know, advertising budgets and stuff like that. What have you guys done, or what have you found that works best to draw attention to your projects?
Yeah, man. Facebook. Twitter. I have something written down about that actually. And I can't find it here, but basically the idea is that you kind of have to know when you're building something who your audience might end up being. Have an idea in your head of who's going to be enjoying this besides yourself, you know, and your family.
Yeah.
So I'll just take us as an example. Like I knew that I wanted to make something that I could share with the Dark Shadows community. I knew that they existed. I knew that they got together every year and celebrated a TV show that happened, 40 years ago, and they're just still excited about Gothic, you know, storytelling in Maine, and so that's a place we sort of started researching their message boards and Facebook groups and stuff like that. And you just kind of start assimilating yourself into the environment. You know, introduce yourself. Don't come right out of the gate and say, I've got this thing I want you to watch, because they're not going to trust you. They're going to think you only were there to pimp your product, which you kind of are. But like, make friends.
But it's been successful because
Yeah.
we've not only gotten in with the you know, Dark Shadows community. There's this guy who writes the you know, audio dramas that come up for Dark Shadows now. He knows what we're doing. He's a fan of us.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
And a comic book.
Yeah, and a comic book, and he writes the comic book as well.
And the actors.
And yeah, Barnabas's little sister from the original is actually a fan of ours. We were at a Dark Shadows convention in Tarrytown, New York, and she announced us on the stage in front of everybody. And she's coming. We're going to the Indie Soap Awards in New York City. She's coming with us. So it's really exciting to have someone like that you see on TV and you know love, and now she's supportive of us. Like she actually saw us across the room, like beelined it for us. I mean, it was amazing, and it was great to see that just all online, just trying to connect with people, and now she's our buddy. It's weird, but it's great. What it can do for you.
So something like what you guys are doing, like you'd go after, you know, try to find any other people who are like talking about, you know, geek culture from across the globe, man. There's so many people who are doing it, and if you can share your stuff with them and get involved with what they're doing, like the internet, like I said, it's this great sort of leveling field for all of us.
But another thing we did on a local level is that when we were casting it, you approached local musicians, a lot of local musicians who were in bands that were existing already, who had their own fan bases, even if they were for little parts. These are people who come with their own fan base.
Right.
So before we'd even had an episode, there were people who were aware of us because, you know, Dominic from Dominic and the Lucid could say, hey, I'm in this show, you should check it out when it premieres. And all of his fans were like, oh, well, we'll check that out.
Yeah.
And we did, you know, I don't know how many musicians were in that first season, but a bunch.
Yeah. Rick.
Rick's a musician, and Paul.
Doug Porter,
Eric,
Fusitron,
Ian.
Eric Moody. It's smart to surround, or get people on your team who have little mini fan bases of their own. It was definitely something we did on purpose. That wasn't like a happy accident. We were like, we've got some extra characters we need to fill in here. Let's get some people who already have like an online presence, and just bring them all into the fold.
And we have a large cast. Just for season 1, there's 30 people, and for seasons 2 and 3, we have over 40. So 40. That's just actors. That's not crew or whatever. So, if you have 30 people who all are like in the local scene or have like either acting or whatever, it brings a lot of people to you. It brings a lot of different kinds of attention to you.
I've been told that it's smart to get, even before you put up your first episode, to try to find as big of an audience as possible. So when that first episode goes out, you've got a bunch of people to watch it, and you're not like struggling to try to get them to watch that first episode.
Right. Our website was up, our Facebook page was up, our Twitter account was up.
Our
Yeah.
blog was up.
The blog was up long before we premiered.
I think I made a teaser video before we were even done writing it.
Yeah.
Just to give us sort of something to think about for tone and atmosphere, but also something we could like sort of share with people and get people interested in what's that all about. Basically, it was just like scenery shots and some creepy music. But yeah, the bigger fan base, or at least maybe they're not fans yet, but people who are interested, people who are like liking your page and stuff like that. The more people you can get before you get started, the stronger your premiere is going to be.
And we're lucky because we're actually from like the Belfast area, so we can go into the papers in Belfast. My mom's in Bar Harbor, so we have a connection there. So it's like you use your connections around the state to, if you're local to this area, if you went to school in this town, if you, whatever, local stuff, they love that. They want to hear about the kids who went to Belfast Area High School who are now doing this thing. They want to hear about that. So it's good to, find, like, relative, any connection you can get from across the state and try to kind of feed into that so that they'll pay attention to what you're doing. It's worked. I mean, it's been helpful for us.
Rick raised his hand.
When you debuted your show, how long was it before you noticed a response or a reaction? And over time, did you notice that getting bigger, and what kind of ratio, and where is it at now as far as like people that you know of that are watching new episodes?
Sure.
Well, that first day,
Yeah.
when we first put up an episode, YouTube gives you that handy little counter, shows how many people have watched it, and we've been working on it for over a year before we put up an episode. So it had been in our radar for a long time, but we had no idea what the response was going to be. And I remember just that first day, that number just ticking up and up and up and up and up. I kept going. We worked together in the same office, so I kept going by his office saying, "It's up to 500."
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. You're never going to get more views than your first episode of anything, whether it's a TV show or whatever. Because like that's just the way it is. They have to start there, to get down the road.
Well, plus, what helped was going into YouTube.
Yeah.
Like doing research about what the web community is, and there's a lot of blog talk radios and a lot of people out there from across the country who review web series. And so there's this show called Indie Inner Tube, who they're pretty much the mouthpiece for the whole community. And they're really good. And so Barry had sent them our first episode, and so we were lucky enough to be reviewed there.
On our first day.
On our
Yeah,
first
on
day.
our first day.
So,
yeah.
which is great, and they were very, very nice.
Yeah.
And they liked it, which helps.
Yeah.
So that was something else, is knowing what's out there to kind of try to get it in as many places as we can.
We had done a premiere party locally at Gino's just to show the first episode, and we had actually shot an episode there, so it was like a perfect place to do that. And so it was a good way for us to do like a traditional filmmaking sort of style thing too, which you don't always get to do with web series, but to bring a room full of people together and get like immediate reaction. When we throw stuff out on the internet, it's kind of you know, people, oh, that was great, you know, and they'll share it, but like, yeah, but like, you don't really know if they're paying attention on the internet. You don't know how many windows they have open at the same time. You know, if they're running to the bathroom when you're giving them the clue that they need, you know, to. So, anyways.
And then from our blog, we've seen that we're all over the world. Like I've seen hits from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, seen hits from a lot of hits from Russia, and it's neat because then you can search on the Russian search engine and you can see Ragal with Russian all over it, so it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, from I think every continent except Antarctica, yeah. But all the other ones, have heard of us, have come to our blog repeatedly, usually through our either Facebook or front page of our. So there's lots of data out there too that you can kind of see, but yeah, there was like all of a sudden for some reason we had this upsurge in Russia. We got maybe like one person who was really excited about it, but it was neat, and you can look at that kind of stuff.
And that's the stuff that's out of your control. Like there's only things that you can control. You control your social media, like you control Facebook and Twitter, but you never know where people are gonna really be catching your stuff. Like you can to an extent. I can like go into like a fan forum for Twin Peaks and say, hey, you guys like David Lynch? Well, we do too. Check this out, and hopefully somebody looks at it. But you never know. Like I was really surprised. Like in the first week we got like a video review from somebody in Ireland who saw us. Just strange. Like when you throw stuff out there, kind of like to some extent you're pretending like you have some control over it, but you kind of don't.
So on that same vein, because it's out there, and when you finish watching a show on NBC or ABC, there's not a comments board at the bottom of it telling you about what people thought about it immediately.
Right.
How do you deal with not just the positive comments, but also the negative comments? And I'm sure it's the internet.
Yeah.
Negative comments you might as well be breathing if you're on the internet.
Yes.
How do you guys deal with those sorts of things?
You just say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
You listen to everything, and and for a while we were frustrated because we were hearing mostly positive comments, and we wanted negative comments. We wanted people to say, that's great, but come on, I don't believe this, or this, your sound sucks, or just something, so that because it's good to get the good and the bad, because then you're like, oh, but so people are really watching, they're really telling us what's good and bad. It doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, thank you, I agree with you, I'm going to change everything you said. It doesn't mean that, but it's definitely good to hear negative comments about
And I don't think there's been anything written about Ragged Al on the internet in a comment review or anywhere that you haven't personally responded to.
which is very important.
Yeah.
But even if it's negative, we still respond, and we don't be like, hey, shut up, love our stuff.
Hey, shut up.
You don't say that. You say, oh, well, thank you for watching. I see that you, really watched it, and you have some, opinions about it. So, and then we're like, keep watching. Maybe if you keep watching, maybe we fix that, or we've turned it around, or something. So just.
I mean, how often do you go on the internet and write anything about something that you saw? I mean, it's fairly uncommon that well, I don't know, maybe, but like at least in my life, I'm not like commenting on everything that I see. So if somebody took the time to watch your thing, and like even if it's like your stuff is crap, man, but at least like they took the time to watch it, come up with an opinion. There isn't a lot of that.
But usually it's very specific when it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, but like I just think it's good. All feedback is good. And don't believe the really good stuff, and don't believe the really bad stuff. It's somewhere in the middle. That's where the truth lies on how good your product actually is. Because your ego can like really get out of control if you're like, if enough people tell you you're doing good work.
And then you can be really crushed and angry when that one person comes out and you're like, okay, your sound sucked, your story sucks,
Yeah.
you suck.
It's like your baby sucks,
Yeah, and then but if you just keep it level the whole time, then you can deal with positive.
Yeah.
Even.
I think we all sort of, as a Ragged Al team, learned very quickly that it's much better to not argue. You know, if people comment, you know, good or bad, or give you any kind of feedback at all, just say thanks. You know, it's probably the cheapest, best way you can develop good, you know, relations with the
Sometimes
audience.
it does make them more angry, but we can't do that.
Yeah, those people you're just not working about, but.
So Sexy Dating Mama 225's opinion.
Is that you?
Still-
That's you, isn't it?
That's me. Yeah.
I was hoping I'd bump into you something.
We can talk later about it. So I know some people kind of flittered in here towards the middle. If anybody has any questions at all about anything about the topic, feel free to just raise your hand, even when someone's talking, and I'm keeping an eye out in the crowd to see if anybody has a question. So, any of the new people? I'm throwing.
Is it actually filmed in an island?
Some of it.
Some of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or is it all like, you know, camera tricks?
Well, no, we like to say that we've stitched the island together from
Mhm.
different parts of Maine. We shot some of it in Bar Harbor. We shot a lot of it in Gorham, because we live in Gorham, and our house is about 5 different locations.
And we live nowhere near the water.
No, we live nowhere near the water. And it was filmed in Harpswell, it was filmed on Great Island, it was filmed on Peaks Island, it was filmed in Portland. You know, it was filmed all over the place.
Also a little bit in Canada.
Yeah.
That's just the open. Just the open. Just a few things in there.
But we like to say it's an all Maine series. Right.
Well, it's New Brunswick. I spent a lot of time in Canada, so it's my second home. So. It counts.
So all over. It's all Maine, except for the title sequence. There's some shots.
Yeah.
Right.
I understand that you attended the Independent Soap Awards in New York, even though Ragged Isle doesn't seem to be specifically a soap opera. What type of experience was it attending that, and what sort of things happened, and things that you noticed, and impressions that you got from being there?
It was amazing.
We loved it,
It was
yeah.
a great time.
No, I will briefly tell my favorite story that I tell everybody, even if I told Downey's Magazine, I'll tell you that. My favorite story is that I am a huge CBS soap fan, huge, and Guiding Light was my show. I used to, like, I ran home from school to watch Dark Shadows, I ran home from school to watch Guiding Light. And I love Dr. Rick Bauer, and he's the only guy in the whole place I wanted to meet, because there's a lot of soapstones there. And he ended up giving us our award for Best Drama. And that was my... I just loved it. And I got to hug him and scream at him a little bit. She's like, "You're Dr. Rick Bauer." I know, and I hugged him. He's like, "I love your show." Like, no way. But it was amazing. We got to walk the red carpet. We got all dressed up. We had suits, makeup.
It was, yeah, I just kept saying how silly it was.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
was weird, because there's soap opera stars there, and there's people from across the country, and as well as Canada there, and it's almost like the Emmys for web series, and we're from Maine, and we're, you know, a lot of people from Los Angeles and New York, and we're intimidated, and oh my God, the web community is the most wonderful, engaging, welcoming community. It's like every award that was won, we all won. Like, it was just
The
amazing.
whole place went nuts every time they announced any award.
Yeah, we were just like, oh my God. It was very exciting. And it was an amazing experience, and we actually had some wins. He won Best Director, we won Best Cinematography, all shows, and we won Best Drama, all shows. And we were with people who are Emmy Award winners, you know, people from Buffy are on these shows, soap opera stars, like, all kinds of people. And it was just someone from one of my favorite X-Files episodes that we're going to say the Journey song with was, you know, was there. So it was amazing, and it was just, we felt so welcome, and we're going back again in February.
Yeah.
And we're excited. You can speak.
No, I don't have much more to add.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had finished our season, our first season, and you know, proud of what we had accomplished, and that was just like the icing on the cake at the end. It was a complete surprise. We would have been happy regardless if anything had happened, but we got nominated for what, 6 or
9 of them.
9 awards, and okay, well, we've got to go. I mean, it would be insulting not to go to New York, and we'll probably sit in the back and just clap. And we were right in the very back, the top, as far away as you could get.
We're gonna walk down a lot of steps.
Yeah, clearly indicating that we would not be winning tonight, and we would just be there to enjoy, the success of
And the
everyone.
first 3 awards we were up for, we didn't win.
Right, it was like-
So
yeah.
we were starting to
We were just
relax.
sort of settling in, like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was sitting higher as the night went on. I was started like this, and then I got more confidence. The more I was sure that we weren't going to win anything,
And then it started.
And then it started rolling. Yeah, I want that for everybody. I want that for our friends at Refund for Content. I want everyone to be able to experience that greater community that I don't know that we really realized was there.
It was so friendly.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, this gentleman back there has a question.
I'm just wondering, in trying to promote your show, with online promotion, do you feel there's any mistakes, anything you overlooked, or anything you felt you did wrong that you had to go back and correct on the way?
That's a good question. There were tons of mistakes.
we didn't jump on Twitter really early.
We need to jump on Twitter.
Which actually is important.
Yeah, Twitter's like to me, my theory on Twitter is like you can divide the country in half, and like the west side of the country is very Twitter-centric, and the east side, especially New England and Maine, seems to be more comfortable with Facebook. So it took us a while to get into Twitter. I still hate it.
I still don't get all the hashtags.
Yeah, Karen probably is our strongest Twitter person, tweeter. But yeah, I mean, you never know. There's lots of egos out there, and people can be hurt along the way. We, unintentionally, we worked with Mingle Media as an online place that sort of accumulates shows and pimps them out, and we ended up at one point joining up with a network in Los Angeles called the SFN, sort of a hand-picked group of 5 or 6 shows, and they asked us to take the videos down off of everywhere and just be exclusive on their site. It made sense at the time. We had already pretty much gotten all the views that I thought we were going to get off our first season, and it seemed like a new way to sort of, explore the West Coast audience, which we hadn't really cracked that nut. So we took it down, and I didn't tell everyone. So Mingle Media went nuts on me. Got into like a pretty nerve-wracking conversation with with the CEO of that place, and lost a friend there. I haven't really heard from her since. We have since left that network, the SFN, and gone and done it ourselves and said, you know what, look, no more drama. We're going to start our own network and do this the right way. And we haven't heard from them since either. I don't know if they've watched season 2. I was very curious to see if they would enjoy it, and I'm kind of surprised that I haven't heard from them. So there is ego out there. We do paint this rosy picture of the online community, and it's true. I mean, for the most part, it's true. But there's a few bad apples everywhere, and you should be prepared for that. And don't be prepared for everyone to love you, no matter what decision you make.
It's a bit pretty irrational.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular that we... Oh, okay, here's something. Either do your credits right or don't do credits, because you'll be surprised how closely some people look at them and how some people could care less. They watch the episode and they shut it off, it's done. But some people are looking for their names in there. So you gotta spell them right. If you got people with weird names or people who have changed their names, to, maybe they have an artist version of their name or whatever, man, just get that stuff together before you put it online. Because you put it online, boom, here's 1,000 hits on your video. You get an email a couple days later, I just watched the video. Why did you leave me out of the credits? Or that's not the name of the song that I gave you, or whatever. And
You gotta rip it down.
and if you're cool, you will say, okay, I'll take care of this, and you shut that video down, you fix your credits, and you upload it again, and there goes all your hits for that video that you got. happened to us at least 10 times. You know, it's something. And that's just, I mean, it's almost impossible with a project as big as we have to not at some point or another screw something up. We share the credits with each other, make sure, like, did I get this right? Did I get this right? And you're not always going to get it right. So, like, either some web series don't do it. 8 and 5 is an example of a web series, which I love. But at the end of their episode, it just goes 8 and 5, and that's how it ends. And you're like, whoa, cool, okay. And they just put their credits online. You know, I might want to do that next season. I don't know. Karen doesn't seem to think so. So probably we'll be doing credits next season.
Just be very careful.
But yeah, I'm glad I thought of that. So I mean, please learn from my mistake. You can anger people who are on your team that you didn't mean to. And it's very easy to screw up in that way, because most of the title things that I use, at least like in Final Cut, there's no spell check, there's none of that. You're just typing in stuff. So write it somewhere else, you know, send it to a couple of trusted friends, and say, you know, please let me know if I get this right before. Yeah, just do your due diligence before you commit it to the internet.
The gentleman on the side, you had a question?
Oh, no, actually it's been answered throughout the course of the talk. No, more is like, with interacting on the internet, in person I can go up and talk to anyone, but on the internet I'm incredibly shy. I don't really like talking. It's like, and so he basically said that's a big part of what you need to do
Yes.
in order to get out there, so I may just have to get over
You may have to get over it, or find someone.
Right. I mean, this is a team
Yeah.
effort. So, I mean, there could be one dedicated person who is in charge of the internet
it.
interaction.
Hire a friend.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, for example, I don't always come across, I'll be honest, I don't always come across, I'm very direct and to the point, so often I let Barry handle it, because I'll be trying to say something very nice, and it'll just come off, okay. I did not mean to say it like that, so sometimes I'll actually have Barry read what I've written, to make sure it's human, I say.
It's very common.
I'm like, is this human?
Is this human?
And he'll help me out with that.
Yeah, very common. So yeah, and like shows that I've dealt with, I'll just use 8 and 5 as another example. There's one person on the team who's in charge of the Facebook page. There's one person on the team who's in charge of the Twitter page. You don't really know who you're talking to, you know. I kind of figured early on that I was just talking to the creators, but no, I mean, sometimes you're talking to the wife of the creator, or you're talking to, you know, the son of, you know, some actor or something like that who's running the page for them. So yeah, don't necessarily put it all on yourself. And you can also just create a persona online. You know, you can be the, you know, very, you know,
Put on a mask.
brave. You know, you do whatever you want. Be very humble. Be very friendly. I think I'm friendlier online than I am in real life, but.
I don't know, you're not doing bad right now.
But no, but that actually gives you so much goodwill, is just being nice.
Yeah.
Be considerate to your actors, be considerate to your crew, be considerate to your community. If you're gonna shoot someplace, ask. Don't just run in there and do it and be like, well, what the hell, we're just gonna do it. Ask.
Yeah,
Get permission.
I did do a
You know?
video for a class once, and we had to clear it with the cops because there was a murder scene in the back
Right.
alley.
Right. Well, no, like, we had people running all over Portland in fake cop uniforms. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we tell somebody that we're doing that? We're not, you know, impersonating police officers or anything, but we're running around, you know, with, and actually their biggest concern was that we would have fake weapons shooting them.
We also make an effort to promote other shows.
Yeah.
We always have. We've reached out to the community on our Facebook page. There's nothing going on for Ragged Isle. We make sure, you know, hey, you should check out Blood and Bone China. You should check out this. And some of that gets returned.
Yeah.
And then for self-promotion, as you're shooting, it's always important to shoot extra things. Shoot extra little videos, shoot extra little question and answer sessions. And then even if you're not actively shooting, if you're in between seasons, shoot some stuff. Shoot some fun things and put it out there. They'll put it up in the media, they'll put it up at different places, just put it up on their website. Just to keep people interested and coming back to you is something different for the web. It's to always have extra content that you can pop up when there's a lull to keep people interested in what you're doing. I think it's helpful.
This is not, it's not like, I know we're jumping all over the place,
Yeah.
but whatever. This is not like a traditional TV series where you get a 6-month break and you can go off and do your feature film or whatever it is,
Oh, you guys didn't do?
No, we didn't. It's when you get involved with something like this, I bet you guys deal with this a lot. It's kind of like a 24-hour-a-day thing. It's always in the back of your head, and it'll be there all year. There's going to be somebody you never know when people are going to be watching your video and commenting on it, so you got to kind of be ready at any moment to be checking your phone or whatever and saying thank you and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to cultivate a positive relationship with your audience. It's not something you can really take a break from. I've been pretending to take a break from Ragged Isle, but
I mean, it's
not
it's
really.
it's not as intense though. It's not as life altering.
No.
This is when your show's actually up.
Yeah, when your show is up, you need to be on constantly. But yeah, when you have downtime, you build an online network, or something. Come up with different things to do. Yeah. Rick.
During the production itself, when you were filming, what are some of the lessons that you learned, either easily or the hard way, that you wouldn't have guessed at before you started production?
Sure. Lessons that we have learned. What do you think? So many.
Have a small crew.
Don't write so many locations.
Yeah.